morning, everyone. My name is Dorcas Ajikugene, and I want to welcome you to our long range product expose. As you know, this platform is a platform where you get to get knowledge and you empower yourself with the knowledge of products that can help you scale and live a beautiful and healthy lifestyle. So today, I have awesome stuff to talk to us about, and I'm sure we're going to benefit a lot from it. But before I proceed, I'd like to remind us that the platform is the Long Reach platform, okay? Long Reach Bioscience is a 35-year-old company, okay, that is resident in Asia and, has the Nigerian branch here, and they're doing awesome stuff here. Long Reach has products that are top-notch, and they also have research and development centers spread around the world. We're talking about 10 research and development centers. Now, we have centers in the United States, in France, in Italy, Switzerland, China, and Japan. Now, all these research and development centers are all working towards giving us top-notch products that can enable us, live a beautiful and healthy lifestyle. Now, every time I'll always say beautiful and healthy lifestyle, I must tell you, as an individual, if you use Long Reach products, you must enjoy a beautiful and a healthy lifestyle, because you see, you begin to glow because the products bring out that beautiful side of you that you never thought you had, right? Yeah. So Long Reach has over 2,000 products, and I'm talking about over 2,000 products spread across different categories. Now, I have categorized our products in 7 categories here. We have male care products, female care products, baby care products, personal care products, energy healthcare products, nutritional drinks and supplements, and everything here helps to keep you healthy. So if you're on the path of wellness, you can actually enjoy that lifestyle of good health by utilizing this product. Now, today on our expose, we'll be talking about arthritis. We're talking about arthritis, how to combat it, and everything you need to know. Because you see, knowledge is power. A lot of us don't know about these things, and we live our lives ignorantly of the consequences of certain actions. But today, we're going to understand how arthritis is and how it can come about, in the life of an individual. Now, as you all know, everybody has it as common knowledge that arthritis is like an elderly person's kind of illness. But in our current day experience, I've come to find out that arthritis is no longer an old person or the old person kind of sickness. Arthritis is now the reality of people in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. Okay, and I think it's important that we address this issue before it escalates further. Now, moving on today, I'm going to bring us back to what we talked about last week, right? We talked about the human skeletal system, and we said that the human skeleton is the internal framework of the human body, and it helps to put our body together. In other words, our body won't be able to stand, or we as human beings will not be able to stand upright if we did not have a skeletal system. So our skeletal system is that framework that holds all our tissues, our muscles, our organs in place, and ensure that everything is not just, in disarray, right? Now, the skeleton is also a storehouse of 2 major minerals. Talk about calcium and phosphorus, okay? You can find them in high quantity in the skeletal system. Now, the skeletal system is composed of bones, ligaments, tendons, joints. Okay, all these things, all these fibrous parts come together to ensure that we are put together. So the composure we have as humans standing upright is as a result of the combination of these connective tissues. Now, the size and the shape of an individual skeleton follows the genetic pattern of the family line of that particular person. So if you're from the family line of tall people, your skeletal frame is going to have the tall outlook. If you're from the moderate height point, the same thing. If you're from the short point too, it's the same thing. Okay, so there's a genetic thing about the selection of, the skeletal length. Okay, now the skeletal system helps us to also move. We won't be able to move from place to place if our skeletal system does not accommodate it. And aside that, it also helps us to protect our internal organs. So you're not worried about your heart popping out of your chest because your skeletal system, has this protective coverage over it. And that's why your heart, your liver, your kidney, uterus, and other parts are intact and not falling off, the platform. And you can see the beautiful picture of the skeletal frame. I have a 3D version and, a very, very, awesome picture here that can just let you know how the frame looks. Okay, when flesh covers it, so you can see with your skin and everything, but you see the framework is in here doing the put together, right? Yeah, moving on. We have several components, as I mentioned earlier on, that make up the skeletal system. Talked about the bone, which is a rigid form of connective tissue that is part of the skeletal system, and it is composed mainly of calcium. Okay, we have the ligaments, which is a small, dense, white, fibrous, elastic tissue. Okay, it connects the ends of bones together, okay, in order to form a joint. Okay, that's what the ligament does. It connects bones together. While the tendon is an inelastic band of fibrous connective tissue, okay, that connects muscle to bone. So in order for the muscle to get, in contact with the bone, you need your tendon to help you do that. While your joints help to hold the skeleton together. So we have what we call joints that put the entire bones, all the bones scattered everywhere. In order for them to stick together, the joints help to do that excellent job. Now, we have different types of bone shapes, okay? We don't just have long bones, one type. We have different types. We have the flat, bone. We have the sutural bone. We have the short bone. We have the irregular bone. We have the long bone, and we have the sigmoid bone, okay? So these bones have different roles that they play in ensuring protection, locomotion, and coordination of our body. Okay, so this is so you can see different parts that they reflect. You can see that the flat bone is found the forehead region. That's why you have this shape, because of the flat bone there. Now, moving on, these bones I just mentioned, I have a more enhanced image here that showcases their work. Okay, so you can see the long bone, the short bone, the sigmoid, the irregular bone. You can see how they function. You can see the flat bone helping to protect the chest region. So you can see that your heart is safe. Your lungs, you can see the lungs left and right, they are safe because the rib cage with the sternum, they are all working to the irregular bones, functioning here, right? Yeah, you can see them working there. Now, moving on quickly, we have different types of bones. Okay, as I said earlier on. Now, in the body, in the human body, or in an average adult, we have about 206 bones, right? And we said that from childhood, it's more. But as you keep growing on, they begin to specialize and they begin to connect. And there's a reduction to 206 bones. Now, we have long bones, about 90 long bones, about 28 short bones, about 36 flat bones, about 4 sigmoid bones, and 48 irregular bones. Now, today, we're going to be looking exhaustively at the joints, because you see, earlier on we said that the joints are the bones that hold, other bones together, and they also ensure, locomotion or movement, right? They ensure that we're able to move with, the joints. Now, because we have joints, okay, our body, our bones are able to make different kinds of movement. You can see I'm moving my arm, right? If I did not have a joint at this particular point, the bone here will not be able to connect with the bone at this point of my hands. You can see that, right? So I'm able to move my hand forward and backwards because of this. I'm able to move my neck, left, right, left, right, left, right, because of the joint contained at that point. I'm able to squat when I want to. I'm able to bend my back. My vertebral column is a little bit flexible because of the joints. Now, the joints, the joints help us to make gliding movements angular movement, circumduction movement, rotational movement, fibro, rotational movement, sorry. So these movements are, possible because of the joints. This, you won't be able to move at all if you didn't have joints. Okay, now we have different types of joints. We have fibrous joints, we have cartilaginous joints, we have synovial joints. Now, fibrous joints are called the immovable joints, okay, because they do not move. Okay, so these joints hold two bones together tightly, okay, in a string like. Now, if you look at the screen, you can see at this particular point here, you can see the skull, right? The skull is put together as a result of what? Of fibrous joints. Okay. Now we have fibrous the bones here. Sorry, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Good. You can see this point here, right? Fibrous content here helps to join this, the frontal bone, to the other part of the cranium. Okay, you can see the excellent job that has been done there. Okay, now these bones cannot move. Imagine if this bone moves. What happened? The brain is going to pop out, right? Yeah, it's not going to stay in place. And you're like, someone's brain is shaking, right? Okay, and that will be very disastrous. So that cannot move. Now we have the cartilaginous joint here. You can see it here. Now this enables a little bit of movement. That's why you can turn to the left, to the right, okay? And it's found at your vertebral column. It helps put the bones that make up your vertebral, column together. Okay, so from this, from the cervical to the thoracic down to the sacrum. Okay, all these bones are put together as a result of your joints. Now, moving on, we also have what we call the synovial. Okay, the synovial, okay, you find it in between. That's when you're talking about your knees, looking at your knees, you're looking at all those parts. Yes, you find those joints at that particular point. Find the synovial, joint at that particular point. Now, I wouldn't want to spend too much time, but I would just like to move on to the next. Now, this is a more detailed picture showcasing the various bones that we have. So you can see the synovial joints here carrying out their functions. The synovial joints are holding, you can see at this particular point, you can see at this particular point here, gliding action can take place as a result of the synovial joint at that particular point. You can see this hinge. You can see because of the synovial joint found at this particular point, you're able, our hand can, just the way your door will go open and close, right? Your arm, is able to do so because of the hinge-like, structure we have here. Now, the next one we have is the saddle. Okay, we have the saddle type, okay, of synovial joint here. Okay, and that's what enables your wrists to make those beautiful movements. You're able to make those movements to your wrist. Okay, now we have the ball and the socket joints at this part of your shoulder. Okay, find it here. So you're able to lift up and down as a result of that. Now, the same thing with the cartilaginous joints. You can see at the vertebral cortex here. Okay, now we have fibrous joint. Do you know that your teeth, the point where your teeth meets with your gum, is managed by a fibrous joint? Okay, the fibrous joint is what handles your teeth in contact with your gum. Okay, so you're sure that your teeth is not going to fall off your mouth because you have your fibrous joints doing the work. Now, let's move on to joint inflammation. Now, despite the fact we have these joints in different parts of our body, inflammation can actually take place. Now, inflammation is a process in which the body's white blood cells and the immune proteins help to protect the body from infection. Okay, so when your body comes in contact forcefully with anything, that your immune system will respond through inflammation. Okay, now inflammation occurs when your white blood cells rush to that particular point where immune response is required. Okay, now in other cases, if a microorganism gets into a particular point of your body and begins to manifest or cause harm, inflammatory actions will take place, and your body's immune system, white blood cells, immune proteins, and all will travel to that particular point to ensure that that situation is taken care of. And after the situation is handled, these cells will migrate from that point, and you find out that that inflamed point will come down. But in some cases, especially in joint inflammation, most times the inflammation does not just go away. Okay, so when the white blood cells and the immune proteins go to that place to help protect, certain things happen. Number one, the body releases chemicals into the blood of that affected tissues. Now, these chemicals boost blood flow to that particular area. That's the area of the injury or infection. And it could cause what we call redness or warmth. So when there's inflammation at a particular point, that place could actually start feeling hot, okay, and swollen, okay. Now, as this, as this continue to take place, it could actually affect or trigger the nerves around that place and cause pain. Okay, now, so what I said earlier was that when there's an infection or when there's, an injury or pressure on a particular point of the body, inflammatory actions take place where white blood cells and immune proteins are sent to the site, and certain chemicals are released, to that place. Now, if this lingers for a long period of time, it could trigger nerves and it could cause pain. Now, the higher number of cells and inflammatory chemicals in the joints can cause irritation that could lead to wearing down of the cartilage that protects the end point of the bones. Don't forget that when the joints, this joint we just talked about now, they are the ones that bring two bones together. Okay, now there is something in the middle of two bones, right? Cartilage on the edge. If you joined us last week, talked about cartilage, right? Covering the edge, the end of each side of the bones. Now, this cartilage point, when these chemicals get there, it could start wearing it off. Now, don't forget that joints have different components that help them, stick together. But I'm going to emphasize on the synovial fluid that helps two joints to, hold each other. Now, the synovial fluid in the middle could be affected also as a result of the swelling of the joints and the wearing down of the cartilage. So the integrity of the synovial fluid, the integrity of the cartilage is at stake when this inflammatory action lingers. Now, in some diseases, the immune system triggers an inflammatory response when there's nothing to fight off. So what I just explained earlier on of the immune system responding to infection and injury, in some cases, the immune system will actually react that same way when nothing is wrong for some people. Now, I'm going to explain further on that as we move on, okay? Now, this action is as a result of what we call an autoimmune disease, okay? Or a disorder. So when there's a disorder in the immune system could actually start damaging its own tissues without any reason. Okay, without any reason. But let's move on before I deviate. Now, what are the things that cause joint pains? So we say we have arthritis-related causes, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, spondylosis, and some other actions. Even viral challenges can also cause joint pains. Okay. Now, can this inflammation I just explained, can it affect internal organs? Yes, it can. So if this inflammatory action is not handled, and if this inflammatory action If it's as a result of an autoimmune disorder, then it could lead to challenges. Now, if this inflammation affects the heart, it's called myocarditis. Okay, if it affects the small tubes that bring air to the lungs, it's called it affects the lungs, right? It's called bronchiolitis. Okay, I don't want to bite my tongue. Okay, and this could actually lead to shortness of breath, right? Now, if it affects the kidneys, it's called nephritis, and it could lead to kidney failure. If it affects the eyes, so it has its own challenge. The blood vessels, the same thing. If it affects the joints, it's called arthritis. Can you see where I'm going to? Because you see, there's a destination I'm going to. So when inflammation takes it on, it leads to what we call arthritis. And we have different types of arthritis that come as a result of inflammation. We have what we call rheumatoid arthritis, we have gouty arthritis, systemic lupus, and other forms, okay, that are not immune related, okay? And that's in the case of osteoarthritis or degenerative arthritis, okay? So this osteoarthritis and degenerative arthritis is not as a result of the immune system causing, a challenge, okay? Now, experts do not think inflammation plays the same role in osteoarthritis. Other painful conditions of the joint and musculoskeletal system that are not tied to inflammation can lead to muscular low back pain, muscular neck pain, and general pain and fatigue in the body. Now, arthritis. I know you'll be like, Dorcas, why are you just lingering? Let's go straight to arthritis, right? I had to do the detour so that you could have a clear picture of the final destination where I'm taking you to. I try as much as possible to ensure that I break down everything I'm talking about to the simplest form so that no one finds it difficult to understand. Now, arthritis. Arthritis is derived from a Greek word, meaning disease of the joints. So any disease of the joint is known as arthritis, and it could be chronic or acute, okay? And anytime you hear arthritis, we're also talking about inflammation of the joints, okay? So if it's chronic inflammation or acute inflammation of the joints, is known as what? Arthritis, right? Now, this inflammation is usually accompanied with structural damage and pain. In other words, the integrity of the bone or the joint is not left normal after this kind of inflammation. There is a form of structural damage and there's a form of pain that comes as a result of this inflammation or this disease. Now, in contrast, because you see, I had to actually put this here because a lot of people use rheumatism and arthritis, in different contexts, right? So medical literature does not generally use the term rheumatism. Okay, so instead of using rheumatism is like an archaic term, right? So instead of using rheumatism and all that, we say arthritis for any condition that has to do with the inflammation of the joint. So instead of you saying rheumatism, I'm having rheumatism and all that, it's arthritis. Because you see, under arthritis, we have what we call rheumatoid arthritis. We have a subsidiary that still points out to the rheumatism aspect of it. So the general term is arthritis. So even if it's rheumatoid or anything, the general term is arthritis because it's all encompassing for any disorder or any disease that has to do with the inflammation of the joints. Now, arthritis is common among adults at the age of 65 or older, okay? But it also, as I said earlier in my introduction, people we have children having arthritis, we have young adults having arthritis, we have different age groups ending up with arthritis, right? So arthritis is characterized by joint abnormalities, stiffness, and pains caused by inflammation. So any condition that has to do with any joint anomaly or stiffness or pain or as a result of inflammation is said to be arthritis, right? Now, inflammation can be caused by several factors, including infection, such as is seen in septic arthritis, autoinflammatory or autoimmune mechanisms, as is seen in rheumatoid arthritis, crystal deposits, such as is seen with gout, degenerative disease such as osteoarthritis, inflammation that can sometimes be idiopathic and could just result as a result of nothing in specific being the cause, okay? So due to these different types that I've just mentioned, symptoms may vary, okay? Symptoms may vary, but common symptoms that you'll find with all cases has to do with muscle weakness and wasting, limited mobility of the joints. The person is not able to move their joints properly. Stiffness, the joints become stiff. Pain, the joints become, you begin to feel a lot of pain on your joints. Sensitivity, any little thing, when it's too cold, you're feeling pain. When you're feeling hot, you know, those kind of sensitivities could actually, you know, affect you. Then inflammation of the joints, where the area, the surrounding area is warm, okay? So when you find out that part of your leg is hot, so you're talking about, you know, that those are part of the symptoms that you could experience. Now, what are the common treatments that we look out for? Most of the time, the treatment, you know, given for arthritis is controlling the pain, ensuring that the person is not just wailing out of proportion, ensuring the person is comfortable to be able to carry out their daily activities. So we try to ensure that there's control of pain, try to ensure that joint damage is minimized as much as possible. We try to ensure that we improve and we maintain the quality of life of that person. And we do that through giving medications, therapy, physical therapies, and education, just the way you're receiving it here, and also support. Okay, so what are the common types? I mentioned some earlier on, but for reference purpose, for those people that would love to screen capture, you can actually screen capture this because I'm not going to dwell too much on this, because I'm going to be looking specifically at two aspects, which is the rheumatoid arthritis and the osteoarthritis. Okay, so I'm going to take our quality time to look at how this particular type of arthritis affects the life of people and how we can combat them. Okay, so moving on, osteoarthritis, it has to do with age, and most of the time it affects fingers, knees, and hips. Okay, and they are usually precursors, probably as a result of joint injury or wear and tear, you know, as a result of lifestyle choices. Okay, now osteoarthritis, if I'm to put it in a simpler way, I would say it's something that results as a result of wear and tear. So if you overuse your bones, or for example, you're an athlete, you run for, you know, for a living, you run, you cannot compare the strain on your bones with the way a person that will usually jog for just 30 minutes, right? So the person that does it on the professional and on the, you know, on the higher notes, that person will experience more wear and tear than a person who usually just do the moderate stuff, right? Also, for example, a lady that has a job where she needs to put on high heel shoes and stand for hours, or walk around on high heel shoes for hours. Now, that person would have a different experience from someone who will usually put on flat heels and not necessarily strain her feet for long hours. So osteoarthritis has to do with people that, you know, have had either trauma or excessive use of, you know, their joints, right? Now it's associated with, osteoarthritis is associated with the breakdown of cartilage in joints. So when the cartilage that, you know, that's found at the bottom of the bone, when it begins to break down, osteoarthritis is at work. Okay, now it commonly occurs in the weight-bearing joints. So For ladies that have big backsides, right? Don't forget that the big backside comes with its own dues, right? It comes with weight. So for you to carry that, that's what's trending right now. See the ladies with the big backside, it's beautiful and all. But trust me, it has a lot of weight. And that's why we're like, Dorcas, you have come again, right? Yeah, it has a lot of weight. Now, as you keep building, we have a lot of people that are training their backside to be big and all that. So this is caution for you guys, right? So as you're building, don't forget, you need to eat well for flesh and fats and all that to get to that portion of your body. So as you continue to build that point, what happens? Weight begins to increase at that particular point, and it begins to affect the bones in your skeletal system that ought to hold and keep that particular portion of your body intact. Are you getting the logic? Please, if you're getting it, I want you to say yes in the chat, because I really need to know that you're following me. Okay, so when your hips are getting too big or too full, guess where it's going to go? It's going to start affecting your knees, because you see the weight on the long bones there will begin to, it's just like putting a pumpkin on one tiny sugarcane leg. What happens? It's going to break. It's going to break. I'm serious. It's going to break. Or you find out that your legs get tired after a hectic day. It's the truth. I'm saying the truth. I'm not kidding you. It's the truth. The same thing when you go do big stuff. I'm not criticizing people that are big, but I'm actually bringing it to the notice of people that have small, endowments, and they're willing to acquire more for the sake of trending stuff of fashion. It's important that you take caution, because you see, as you're going to bring in this extra load, you're going to be adding pressure to certain aspects of your body. Before you know, you have like feeling chest pain. For example, someone like me that I'm just moderately endowed, if I go and become a double D and I will have chest pains. There's no, because you see, the fats and everything will begin to rest on the rib cage. My skeletal frame will begin to suffer. And if possible, my equilibrium will no longer be balanced, because my body is naturally built to handle this moderate stuff. Now, for the people on the big side, if you notice, you don't have problems moving. Do you know why? Because you see, your body has the natural build to accommodate it. Your bones, everything, God has fashioned it well. But when you are doing the plus and minus yourself, you need to consider the decking or the foundation that you're about to build these blocks on. Because if your foundation does not stand, you become that shaking building that will collapse after some time, starting with osteoarthritis. All right? Okay, so now no more kidding, right? So osteoarthritis is also called OA. So any part you see OA in my write-up, just know I'm referring to osteoarthritis, okay? Most times, people that end up with osteoarthritis come up with it as a result of probably having previous injury, excessive stress, or a cartilage disorder. If the person has cartilage disorder, then the cartilage points of the bones will begin to fall off, and they will not be able to stand the pressure coming for it. So what is the cartilage now? For those people that didn't follow us last week, cartilage is a firm rubbery material that covers the ends of the bones. I tried to explain that. So imagine if this is the bone, okay, the edge of the bone. Cartilage is what covers this point. So you find out that cartilage is the covering here, okay? While the other side has solid bones. Then when you get to the end point of the other side of the bone, you have cartilage covering it at the base. Now, when this cartilage covering at the bottom of the base begins to erode or it begins to fall apart, you have a situation of osteoarthritis. Okay, so its main cartilage, the function of the cartilage is to reduce friction in the joints and serve as a shock absorber. Okay, so if your cartilage is deteriorating, your bones will not have that shock. You won't have that shock absorbing ability anymore. So anything that comes in contact with your joints, you feel pains. You feel serious pains because something is going on there. Okay. Now, osteoarthritis causes the cartilage in a joint to become stiff and to lose its elasticity. Now, the cartilage is elastic in nature. That's why when I do this, I'm feeling very comfortable because it's elastic. It allows for me to move. You understand? Now, the moment the cartilage loses that elasticity, that particular part of the hand becomes stiff. So when you want to move, you'll be hearing cracking sounds. Okay? You're hearing cracking sounds, and it can cause pains. It will make, and this will further affect the tendons and the ligaments. And before you know it, your bones will begin to rub against each other. Imagine the hard bone rubbing against another hard bone. Friction will take place, and definitely pain will also take place. So the chance of them developing this disease is most of the time as a result of advancement of age. As you're going to carry out your activities every day, as you're going to work, stress yourself, do a lot of things, those things contribute to it. So we'll find out that elderly people tend to have this. So people over the age of 60 could have a degree of osteoarthritis with or without any without any form of disease because of the use of their bones, okay? And all that. But as I said earlier on, people in their 20s also have this challenge. Now on my screen is a picture of a healthy joint and one that has osteoarthritis. So I have to bring this picture to let you know that when your mom is saying, my dear, I'm feeling pains, you're like, mommy likes to complain too much. Mommy, you complain too much. Yesterday, my leg, today, my leg. It's because you don't understand what she's passing through. She's passing through a lot of pain. Yes, she's passing through a lot of pain. Now, if you look at this healthy joint, you can see one bone, the cartilage. You can see the cartilage point here. Then you have your synovial fluid in between, okay? You can see the second bone, the cartilage of second bone. No two bones are joined the way you nail, wood together, no. You have synovial fluid in between, cartilage, touching each other, and touching the synovial fluid. And that's why you have these fluid movements that you're able to carry out. Now, in the case of osteoarthritis, come and look at it here. Can you see what's happening? The cartilage, the integrity of the cartilage is off. We're not seeing cartilage here anymore. Sorry, let's go back. You're not seeing cartilage here anymore. And you can see that the integrity of the bone here is what? You can see it looking rough. Now look at a better 3D version. You can see the cartilage here, right? You can see this is the bone, this is the cartilage. This is a healthy one. Now look at the one that has osteoarthritis. You can see exposed bone here, because the cartilage there, where the wear and tear action has taken place and bone is now exposed. You can see eroding taking place here. It's like erosion is taking place. You can see the lines, the fine lines here that, will lead to further deterioration of the cartilage there. So you can see that this is what is causing the pain. So that friction, imagine these two bones. When she moves her knee, imagine, because this is the knee, right? This is the knee. You can see so when she moves her knee and she screams, this is what's happening here. So please stop warning her, and mommy, you complain too much. No, she's in pain. She's in pain. So what are the causes of osteoarthritis? Now, there are several factors, okay? So what I'm talking about here are the factors that could lead to osteoarthritis. It could be a genetic thing, something you inherited, okay? Genes you inherited from your parents. And you see, that's why it's important you're listening to this. As a young person, it's your responsibility to protect your bones, protect your joints, so that you don't transfer something that's not of quality to your children. Because you see, if this is what you have, that's what you're going to give your children. Can you see it? So when we talk about wellness, we're not just talking about you. It's about the future generation. You are working towards protecting your next generation from inheriting genes that will put them in trouble. Okay? So some people have inherited defects in one of the genes responsible for making the cartilage. And that's why they are passing through osteoarthritis. So this causes the production of defective cartilage that would quickly deteriorate as the person continues with his or her lifestyle. Okay, so and imagine if that's what's happening on the spine. Okay, that's bad, because you see, before long, that person will begin to have what we call curvature of the spine, and it could also lead to osteoarthritis. Obesity is also another factor that can affect a person and lead to osteoarthritis. It increases the risk of having osteoarthritis of the knee, the hip, and the spine. Okay, when you're too big, when the fat content in your body is too much, it's like you carrying a house on a weak foundation. It will crumble. It will crumble. So the ideal thing is to lose weight. If you're very big and you're beginning to feel that the pressure on your bones is high, my dear, it's time to hit the gym. It's time to lose weight. It's time to shed that excess fat from your body so that your bones will not suffer. Okay. Now, injury too can also contribute to development of osteoarthritis. Athletes, okay, who have knee-related injuries, for example, an athlete running and he falls, could actually have knee injury that could lead to osteoarthritis. So imagine if the impact of the fall, was that detrimental and it broke the bones, or it cracked, the knee. It could lead to losing the integrity of the bone of the joints, and the person could start having pains. Now, joint overuse of certain joints can increase the risks of developing osteoarthritis. So if you have a job that requires you to bend down a lot, or your waist, you could start having waist issues. You could start having, if you're to kneel down for too long, or to kneel continuously, the integrity of your knee could also be affected. And for people that love to pray by kneeling down, you could actually do well by getting a soft pillow for your knees. If you wake up every morning to pray, get soft pillows for your knees. It's not any form of, as in, you're not disrespecting God, but you're trying to protect your knees, because if the pressure gets too much and it affects after it, because I'm not saying this is going to happen one time, it could happen after a prolonged period of time. So it's important that you protect your knees. Get something soft to cushion the effect of your knee going back to back with the solid floor and all that. So other diseases too can also serve as precursors to osteoarthritis. This, like rheumatoid arthritis, could lead to you developing osteoarthritis. Now, on my screen are symptoms of osteoarthritis. So how do you know that you have osteoarthritis? You hear clicking and cracking sounds when you move your joints. So for example, I move my arm, hear cramp, crack, click, clack, like plates making noise. It's time for you to what? Take action. Osteoarthritis is calling, okay? Now, when it affects the joint on one side, but it does not affect the other side. So if you're feeling pain on one side and it's not affecting the other side, then it's osteoarthritis, okay? If you're finding out that your hand is stiff, your neck is stiff or something, osteoarthritis might be knocking at your door, okay? If you feel pain in your joints, your hips, your knees, your hands, okay? Osteoarthritis. If you're having bone spurs, if you're having reduced flexibility, or you're not able to bend down or climb the stairs properly, it's time for caution. Then if you're experiencing mild swelling, the swelling is not too high, but you just notice that around your joint, there's a kind of swelling, then you should take caution. And also forget that the symptoms of osteoarthritis are not rapid. They're usually slow in manifesting. In other words, the process could start and span through like 10, 20 years, okay, before it hits hard. So it's important not to ignore these, signs. Now, the other type of arthritis I'm going to also address today is the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, now rheumatoid arthritis occurs when the body's immune system attacks the tissues of the body. Now, when we talked about the other one, we said wear and what? Tear. But this one has to do with the immune system attacking the tissues of the body, specifically the connecting tissues that leads to what? Joint inflammation, pain, and degeneration of the joint tissue. So you can say that rheumatic arthritis is a systemic disease, okay? It's a systemic disease. Now, another thing that's peculiar with rheumatoid arthritis is that it affects the joints on both sides. It's not just one side. So if it's one side, if it's one-sided, that's the first one we talked about, okay? But if you're feeling pain here and you're feeling pain here at the same time, rheumatoid arthritis is at work. If it's on your knee and it's both knees, rheumatoid arthritis is at work. Can you see if it's on your wrist? So it's on both sides. You don't forget that if you're to look, split the body into two sides, left and right. So if you're having left and right kind of pains, okay, we're talking about rheumatoid arthritis, okay? Now, persistent inflammation in the synovial leads to the degeneration of cartilage and bone, okay? So this time, the synovial is attacked, the synovial fluid, the synovial portion is attacked, okay? And this can lead to joint deformity, pain, swelling, and redness, okay? Now, anything rheumatoid arthritis has to do with pain. So there's going to be a lot of pain, there's going to be a lot of ache, there's going to be a lot of stiffness, there's going to be a lot of swelling. Swelling is mandatory when it has to do with this. And sometimes it can just come gradually, while in some cases it can just come and as in, oh, my leg yesterday, in 2 days' time, it's something else, okay? It can affect someone that is aged. It can also affect someone that is young also, okay? And most of the time, when it affects people that are elderly, it leads to weakness. It leads to, tiredness, moodiness, and a whole lot of things. Okay, and some people, if they've been bedridden for a long time, this could actually also happen to them. Okay, now this condition, rheumatoid arthritis, causes premature mortality, as in people get to die if they don't take care of it easy and quickly. Some people die as a result of it. Some people become disabled as a result of it. And sometimes this condition is linked to include cardiovascular diseases, stroke, and some other challenges. Okay, so it's very important that we look out for it. When you notice the symptoms, ensure you attack it early. Don't just buy a Aboniki and just rub and just walk away. The earlier you attack it, the better, because you'll be able to manage the symptoms and you'll be able to improve your quality of life before it begins to affect other organs of your body. Now, this is a graphical representation of the way rheumatoid arthritis looks. So you can see the normal joint here. You can see the cartilage, right? Looking beautiful. You can see the synovial fluid. Awesome, right? You can see the synovium here. You see the synovium point, beautiful. Everything intact. The bone, you can see the lines, fine lines of the bones, intact. The tendons, everything looking good. But when you look at the joints affected by rheumatoid arthritis, you can see what, number one, bone loss. You can see the bones here, looking like cracked stuff, like something is just eating in there and cracking it up. So there's bone loss and erosion. In other words, those chemical contents are already going in there and eating into the bones. Now let's come down. You can see at this point, you can see cartilage loss. The cartilage, if you look at this point, cartilage is full, but here you can see the cartilage is reducing. Cartilage is reducing drastically, okay? And this reduction is not, beneficial, because at this particular point, the person's life is already being affected. This person will no longer be happy. That happiness will no longer be there. Okay, you can see at this point, inflamed synovium. So the synovium becomes inflamed at this particular point. Can you see it? Inflammation takes place here. You can see at this point, look at this swollen, the joint capsule here comes swollen. You can see this line. Look at it here. You can see the joint capsule here. Normal. But when it comes to this point, there's a swelling. If you look at this point where you have the muscles and all, you can see the swelling here. You look at this second, you can see it's swelling. Okay? Then there's bone loss. Also, there's bone loss. So it's important that we attack this issue, because if it's, imagine someone saying, okay, I'll use a bony key to rub the place. Before you know it, the synovial fluid will disappear. Look at how small the synovial, look at the synovial portion here. Synovial fluid, you can see it here. Please follow my cursor on the screen. Can you see? Yeah. Look at it here. It has dropped. You can see how it is. No more synovial fluid. It has deteriorated. There's swollen joint capsule, bone loss, inflamed synovium. I mean, you can imagine the amount of pain this person is passing through. Now let's have a better, an enhanced pictorial view. Look at this. Look at the healthy joints. You can see the fine lines, everything intact, cartilage intact. Now look at this point. Can you see, number one, the swelling? Sorry about that. Can you see the swelling? This is the first, you can see the swelling. Now, aside that, the integrity of the bone is already, there's bone erosion already. No, bone integrity is already affected. Okay? Look at the place. Cartilage is wearing away. You can see the cracks in the cartilage. There is reduced joint space because the synovial fluid has been affected. It has been affected. So it's important that we, look into this. Now, with rheumatoid arthritis, there's disruption of the everyday life of that person. That person is not going to be okay. There's a lot of pain, depression. Most of the time, depression even comes into play. Okay? The person is having a lot of mood swings. When the pains come, mood swings, the person is not happy, nothing. And in some cases, some people experience dry eyes and dry mouths. Some people experience weight loss. Some people experience the swelling, as I said earlier on. And sometimes the pains could start from the fingers and the toes and spread to other joints. And it's usually both sides. So if it's the big toe of this leg, the other big toe will also reflect the same thing. And you find out that there's this hotness the person will feel. If it's on the knee, both sides of the knees. If it's on the, anywhere it is, both sides. So it's important that the moment you notice both sides, pains on both sides, look out for rheumatoid arthritis. So osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, they share the same symptoms, but are very different when it comes to conditions, okay? Osteoarthritis is a degenerative condition as a result of wear and tear, which, happens over a period of time, while rheumatoid arthritis, on the other hand, is an autoimmune disorder that hits the person as a result of the immune system malfunctioning. Okay. Now, people with rheumatoid arthritis have immune systems that mistake the soft lining around the joints for a threat of the body. In other words, the immune system is no more recognizing its own tissues anymore, and it begins to attack itself. Okay. And the attack is on the synovial fluid, the soft lining, okay, of the joints. Okay, and these assaults could lead to buildup of fluids, stiffness, swelling, and inflammation. So what are the general, I mentioned some causes earlier on, but on a general note, both rheumatoid and osteoarthritis and the other types, you have them on the screen, but because of time, I'm not going to pick them one by one so that I don't spend too much time. So what are the things that you need to take into consideration if you have if you have a lifestyle that promotes these things? They could actually increase your pain. So it's important that you look into your diet, It's important that you handle injuries when you have them and ensure that you take good care of them. It's important that you prevent foods that encourage inflammation. It's important that you eat foods that will help you, keep your joints healthy. So what are the treatments? Most of the time, when people have osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, the major thing is to give medication, to ask them to rest, to help them to carry out exercise. And if the pain has gone, as in is far gone, surgery could actually come in to correct the joint damage. And in some cases, some external devices could be placed inside or could be given to the person to support the person in order for the person to be able to manage, his or her daily activities. Okay. Now, most of the time, the treatment is usually dependent on the age of the person and the type of challenge or the point at which the challenge is located. But the general goal is just to ensure that inflammation is stopped, pain is relieved, your joint is able to move, you're able to move, okay? And they can handle that through therapy and exercise, and you're able to reduce stress. Because you see, I always say that stress is one culprit that most people always forget to implicate when things go wrong. Now, we have different types of medications that can be given. Medication would depend, as I said earlier on the type of case or the type of arthritis we're looking at. Okay, sometimes analgesic will be given, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs will be given, counter-irritants can be administered the way you have your ointments and your creams to help reduce the pain. Okay, disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs can also be given to help prevent the immune system from attacking the joints. Then biologic response modifiers that are genetically engineered can be administered to also help fight the immune responses. Then some steroids can be given to help suppress the immune system from attacking the individual. Now, your diet can also play a very, very good role in ensuring that the effects of arthritis are curbed. Okay, so and your weight, as I said earlier on, if you can reduce weight, the pressure, the load your bone, your joints will carry will reduce, and that pressure you feel will no longer be there. Okay, now a 2020 research suggests that some types of osteoarthritis, such as osteoarthritis of the knee, that they respond positively to a diet that is high in flavonoids. Okay, and flavonoids are nutrients that are found in fruits and vegetables. So when you take fruits and vegetables, you can actually improve your situation. Now, when you take foods that are high in antioxidants, they help to fight free radicals that ought to cause cell damage. Okay, so the antioxidants will help to promote, regeneration and proper functioning of your cells. Now, high quality diets can also help to, handle osteoarthritis. When you take foods high in vitamin C, vitamin D, beta carotene, omega-3 fatty acids, they all help to take care of you. Now, if you're looking at your everyday type of food, fish, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, beans, olive oil, and whole grains can also help you curb the challenge. But aside all these foods, we also have supplements manufactured by Long Ridge Bioscience that can give you relief or can also help you prevent it in case you have high risk factors for osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Now we have the Long Ridge iron zinc, the calcium, iron, and zinc supplement that helps to provide you with calcium. Not forget that the bone is made majorly of calcium. So if you can supply your body with necessary calcium, it will help to support your bone, okay? And it also helps to protect its integrity. It will not be so, porous for the chemicals to eat that come around as a result of inflammation, to erode them, right? So it helps to prevent osteoporosis. It helps to also protect you from other bone diseases. You can see that on the screen, right? So it helps to do that. It also helps to maintain your blood alkaline pH. Okay, it helps to prevent anything that will affect your blood. And calcium, you can't go wrong with calcium. Trust me, you can't go wrong with calcium. When you have a lot to do, where you get to use your joint, you get to move, strain, and all that. It's important that as you are utilizing, you are replacing, because you see, as I always say, your internal hemostasis is always affected when there's an imbalance, when there's a deficiency. There is a problem. When there's an excess, there is a problem. So the job of every individual is to ensure that there is a balance. So when you know that you do carry out strenuous stuff that you know will definitely deplete your bone health, and it's important that you take calcium iron and zinc to replenish. We also have our Ultra Super Reviver, Sup Reviver. Our Ultra Sup Reviver is excellent for fast relief for rheumatic arthritis. Trust me, it goes and it targets your synovial fluid. You can see on the pack, you can see the synovial point, you can see your joint area, right? When you take this, it has everything within to help you it has everything that can help you promote good cartilage health. It has anti-inflammatory actions. It has constituents within that can help you take care of your joints. So this product is top notch. We've had, in short, as a long reacher, instead of you going to get all those paparazzi things, this is the perfect gift for your mom and your dad. This one, you get prayers at the end of the day. Yes, you get prayers, because you see, this brings what? Fast relief. It brings fast relief. Now, next week, I'm going to take our quality time to talk about the ingredients contained in Ultra Super Reviver and our long-reach calcium. So you shouldn't miss it next week, okay? I'm going to pull down, I'm going to give you reasons why everything I have shown here is true. I'm going to give you scientific proof. I'm going to give you diet-based proof as a result of the ingredients contained. So don't miss it next week, okay? So moving on, we have our long-reach energy shoe. A long-reach energy shoe is perfect because it contains constituents that help to promote good bone health. Okay, we call this shoe the human power bank because it has constituents within that help to take care of your skeletal frame. The skeletal frame is taken care of with the constituents contained within. I'm also going to treat this, the upper week, okay? Because you see, this product is beautiful and it's a must-have for every person, especially if you reside in Nigeria, where we get to suffer from a lot of traffic and where you feel like leaving your car on the road and walking home because you've been in traffic for like 4 hours. Okay, so moving on, we have our long-reach super big clean panty liners. They're very, very effective in relieving pains. I call this my pain plaster. Any type of pain I feel, back pain, neck pain, waist pain, whatever kind of pain, your long-reach panty liner can help you relieve those pains. All you just need to do is just wet it, sprinkle water, wet it, put it at the point of pain, and you get quick relief. And if you're to look at my screen here, you see it helps in relieving pains of arthritis and what? Rheumatism. Okay, so it's very important that we take this into consideration. Then our long-reach berry oil. Earlier on, I talked about diet, right? Where I said flavonoids are necessary. Vitamin C is necessary. Omega-3 is necessary. Vitamin D, you have all those vitamins here in your berry oil. So with your berry oil, you can actually provide your bones and your body with necessary nutrients that it requires to keep your skeletal system healthy. We have our Nutri-V Blue that contains 40 fruits and vegetables. Earlier on, when I mentioned diet, I told you that with good diets, rich in fiber and all that, it can help you take good care of your body. Okay, now if you look at the bottom here, you can see where it says rich in what? Antioxidants, right? Rich in antioxidants. Your berry oil is also rich in antioxidants also. Okay, now if you move forward, you look at it here. Say it contains brown rice, which is rich in what? Selenium, and selenium is an important trace mineral known to drastically reduce our chances of developing certain form of cancer, as well as heart disease and inflammatory conditions and rheumatoid arthritis. So if you're having autoimmune challenges and all that, with this product, you can actually provide your system, your body system with what it needs to shut down unnecessary inflammatory actions. Now, every product you buy from Longreach has what we call the product value or point value. Now, this point value in Longreach is translated to money. So all you need to do is acquire these PVs, and at the end of the week, you get paid for it. So if you buy the Atros Sup Reviver, which has 22.5 PVs, and you buy a calcium that has 13.75 PVs, and you buy a Longreach Pie Cup that has 45 PVs, you have actually gained registration on the Longreach platform as a bona fide member. Don't forget that on Longreach, on the platform, registration is free. All you just need to do is acquire personal care products or nutritional supplements that you can utilize for yourself, gain testimonies, and you can share with other people. It starts with what? With you. Now, there are different levels you can enter into the business with, okay? We have from the starter pack to the VIP pack. Now, with Longreach, there's no barrier. Oh, I don't have enough money. You can start with the starter pack. Oh, I'm not too buoyant, but I think I can afford 45,000. You can come in with the Q Silver pack, okay? And from there, you can build your PVs until you get to the VIP level. But if you have the monies and you have the need for products that can generate up to 1,680 PVs, then you can come in as a VIP member, where you get to become a shareholder with the company and enjoy special bonuses from the company. Now with Longreach, there is no time frame. All you just need to do is to introduce 3 people to the business, tell them what you did, tell them how you enjoy the products, ask them to get theirs, and also tell 3 other people. And before you know it, you've built a network of product consumers, okay? And as these people continue to enjoy benefits from the use of this product, you begin to earn good sums of money, begin to enjoy money, okay? So there are no monthly mandatory purchases. Your bonuses, you can accumulate them. Nobody's coming to flush your points. Nobody's coming to say, hey, you've not bought your cream. When it's time for you to buy your cream, you know, right? You go buy it yourself, right? So there's no pressure whatsoever. And you can earn in 10 different ways. You can earn by selling products. You can earn by telling people about the Fast Start bonus package. You can earn by bringing numerous persons into the business and enjoying performance bonus and development bonus. You can enjoy travel incentives, car incentives, housing incentives, scholarships, educational scholarships, and leadership bonuses. So you can earn at any capacity you want. It's all dependent on the will and the drive that you have as an individual. Growth is leadership growth or growth progression is achievable on this platform. Nobody is going to sit on your promotion. Here on this platform, promotion is based on what? Performance. If you don't perform, you don't grow. When you perform, trust me, you grow. You grow. That's it. So you can, and the goal for every Longreacher is to become 5-star. Okay. So as you keep growing, you keep earning until you hit the final destination, which is becoming a 5-star director. So at this particular point, I'm calling you to act. Okay. Switch your brand. If you're a first timer on this call, switch your brand. My dear, there is nothing like you using awesome products that can keep you healthy. Imagine you using personal care products rich in antioxidants. Guess what? Free radicals will not thrive on your skin. Imagine you taking supplements that are rich in antioxidants. Free radicals will not break down your body system. You find out that your body will heal well, your hair will grow long, your nails will grow well, your skin will glow, and you look beautiful at all times, right? So you've been empowered today with knowledge. So gain control over your health with the knowledge you've gotten today. Be a product user, share your testimonies, share the testimonies of other people, because you see, as you share your testimony, you might just save somebody that is just, holding up that challenge within. So share your testimonies, don't keep quiet, and PVs, okay? On our platform, it's all about what? Earning what? PV. PV is our currency. And as you know, the final destination is you enjoying a better life and a better future with Long Reach. So as I will always say, before I say bye-bye, I'll say good health is the most important thing. It's more important than success, more than money, more than power. So you could have all the power in the world and be sick and not, and you find out that you're not able to utilize your influence or your money or your power or whatever you have for anything. Imagine a person that's very sick and the person is bedridden. Can you go to the Bahamas? Can you go on a vacation? No, you can't. So good health is the most important thing. Till I come your way again next week, I want to say thank you to everyone who made it a date with me. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you.